time with you for the next 7 or 8 minutes isn't really about how to shape your future. It's more about what you do when the future comes up and finds you and makes you make a decision, if that makes any sense. So I was always terrible with the future stuff. Somewhere when I was a little kid, watching books or watching TV or reading books, one of the two, I got the bug to be a soldier, and it never left me. The idea of making it so that my neighbor or a member of my family could achieve their goals or raise the kids they wanted to, raise their kids the way they wanted to, really resonated with me. But to be clear, I never thought critically about that. I never thought whether that's good or bad or whether I can make something larger out of that. I just went with it. Put my head down, and I was happy. It was easy. And so when I was 18, I followed my brother into the Marines. We went to the infantry. I was in a rifle battalion down in North Carolina, and it was awesome. And like I said before, it was easy. Shut your mouth. Work hard. Do what you're told to do. It can't get any simpler than that. So really, by the time I was 20, I could have laid out for everybody in this audience the next 2 decades, literally, do this assignment, go here, along that well-worn path of military service. I never had to think. When I was going down that well-worn path, I got a college education. I met my wife, Camille. She's in the Marines also. She flies helicopters. This future stuff was super easy. Yeah. So come 2010, I probably have the best job in the Marine Corps. I'm a special operations team commander in Afghanistan. I get to work with 14 great fighters, and more importantly, 14 are probably my best friends still to this day. And late one night in the fall, we were moving to set up an ambush, moving through a courtyard, sort of a low, destroyed wall. I just took a half step to the left, and I stepped on a landmine, which is an interesting experience, and frankly is not as fun as it sounds. And I'll do a little aside here and mention somebody who helped me out that night. He's a guy by the name of Sky Moe, great friend of mine. But when I activated a landmine, he dropped down to his knees, hands and knees, right at that moment, and with his fingertips swept up about 80 yards through a minefield to come grab me. And if he hadn't done that, I would have bled to death. And those are the kinds of people that I worked with on a daily basis, and those are the kinds of people that helped me out and still do to this day. But by 2 in the morning, things had changed for me. I was a double amputee. I'm missing both my legs above the knee. My right arm doesn't work very well. And now, for the first time, I actually have to think about what's next, for real this time. Subsequent parts of the story are kind of a blur. My wife met me in the battlefield hospital. Her helicopter squadron was deployed to Afghanistan at the same time I was there. She jealously guarded me as we went from Afghanistan to Germany, back to the United States. My brother, still in the Marine Corps at the time, guarding my hospital door from the 1, 2, 3 dozen people every day who'd want to come visit, provide a little support, just letting me get some sleep, being a big brother. And a couple weeks later, I found myself sort of sitting in a dark back corner of a hospital in San Diego in a wheelchair. My hands are bound up in braces, and I'm waiting for an important meeting, a meeting with the big boss, a guy by the name of Major General Paul Lefevre. He was going to come visit me and check up on me. And I was nervous. And in my mind, I thought the conversation would go something like, Matt, we can't thank you enough for your 12 years in the Marine Corps. How can we help you as you transition and go doing something else? How can we help you live out the rest of your life until you die? 40 years from now, maybe. But he didn't say that at all. He looked at me kind of quizzically, looked at his note card, and said, I don't see any bar to you continuing to serve, or for that matter, deploying with a unit that you were already deployed with. You want to shake hands on that? So we shook hands. And that was a super important moment to me. Because from the time I'd stepped on a landmine until then, I was in a pretty dark place. Much of my personality, all of my personality was wrapped up in being a soldier and a Marine. Probably to an unhealthy degree, but that's okay. And it provided me that sense of purpose. And along with the inspiration and help that I got from my wife, my brother, my family, and I don't know, 200, 300 other people who provided expertise and encouragement along the way, we made the dream of staying on active duty into a reality. And we had some big tasks, really big tasks, like walking or getting on and off a helicopter with night vision goggles. And we just took those really big tasks and made them into small, manageable chunks. So let's take walking, for example. We just turned that into daily exercise and getting in these little training prosthetic legs called stubbies and doing laps around the hospital. And then going outside with 2 canes, 1 cane, eventually no canes, a half mile, a mile, et cetera. You get the idea. And if I was ever going to convince people that they needed to deploy me back overseas again, I needed to do military tasks too. So I mentioned getting on and off a helicopter with night vision goggles. We did that too. We turned that into going up and down ramps, going up and down ladders a couple hundred times, and then doing it with night vision goggles. And much of that time sucked, and still does, frankly. But the opportunity to continue to be with those sort of weird creatures we call United States Marines made all that worth it. And 18 months after I stepped on a landmine, I found myself as a second in command of a special operations company getting ready to deploy back to Afghanistan in the spring of 2012. Look, there's nothing perfect about military service. I get it. I do. If you've got to use violence or the threat of violence to solve a problem, so many things have gone wrong before that. That's absolutely true. But for me, the opportunity to continue to serve my community and my country, go overseas and defend our interests, literally was a lifesaver. Getting to do it again kept me from a cycle of depression and living in the shadows that, frankly, so many of our veterans face today. And the fact that Marines would be relying on me again to make decisions and take care of their welfare made all that pushing the boundaries and making those limitations disappear worth it. Look, like I said before, at the beginning of this little talk, I never did a good job of shaping the future. Literally, the future came up to me one morning 6 years ago and laid a set of challenges at my feet, completely unexpected. But retouching with that purpose that got me in the Marine Corps in the first place, more than a decade ago, and tapping in to the enthusiasm, the inspiration, the love of my family and my community, made it so that I could shape just a little bit of part of a future, hopefully for the better, and give back to those who gave so much to me. Thank you very much.